With our famous introduction, we should start. And good evening, all. Today we'll talk about a very interesting topic. And today the talk is about problems and what are the problems that we face in our lives, and what is the meaning of defining a problem, and how solving problems can be a contribution to our lives. I think viewing different struggles and different pain and different issues in your life as problems is one of the key ways in order for you to solve them. So without defining the problems that you face, without understanding the problems that you face within your life, or you face within your society, or the world around you is facing, it would be very difficult for you to understand why a solution has happened, or to value a solution. And problems actually happen in many forms. Some of them are just social problems that can happen between family members, or between friends, or between even neighbors, and so on. So sometimes there will be a conflict. Sometimes this conflict in a particular form of behavior. Sometimes it's a conflict about property or about money. Sometimes it's a conflict about attitude. Sometimes it's a communication problem. So sometimes both parties have goodwill, but unfortunately they end up in a conflict. So defining different problems and is one of the most important thing to do. So social problems that happen in our society have a great importance, because they can allow for even a better for even a better society, a society with more harmony, a society with more let me say, with more positive attitude, as people understand that different problems in general tend to be solved and not to be left forgotten. So that's one aspect. So if we just quickly look at things like social problems, sometimes coming on time is one of the most important problems that people face. And if you did not think about why I am late on my appointment, was it the transport system? Was it because of a habit I have? Was it because of a particular behavior? Did this did coming late did coming late on my appointment was something that has become a habit that I tend to do? What is the fundamental reasons behind this kind of problem? And without defining, thinking that coming late is a problem, you would never be able to solve it. So without defining the event that you consider it to be unacceptable, you would think about it as a problem. So that's one of the things. Understanding your resources and understanding your assets will help you to understand what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Also, your values, your emotions, your philosophy in life also will allow you to define what you believe is to be acceptable and what you believe to be not acceptable. Sometimes, for example, wearing shorts can be a problem for some fathers, and that was a very long time, or wearing a particular kind of clothes, or putting a tattoo, or putting, even this problem does not affect anyone at all except the person himself, but it affects the emotion of the parent, as he believes this kind of behavior is not acceptable. This kind of behavior will reflect a certain image about the family, and we don't want this image to be reflected. So sometimes it's not really about resources, rather than it's about understanding, and it's about our vision of the world, and about our conceptual frameworks that we think the world should be, our friends and the world should be, the world around us should be coming, and so on. So that is talking about social problems, but there are other problems around the world that worth solving, and some of them are very big. Some of them are the energy. So let us think about the energy. So always people complain about fuel prices. and they say, oh, fuel prices are so high, we are spending a lot of money on energy and so on. And then nobody actually say, okay, maybe we can find a way to solve this problem, because many people think it's not actually a problem that we can solve, or it's not actually a problem for us to think about. And this is when things really start taking the wrong direction, as people define this as this is the normal way of life, and it will carry on in this way, and it's not for us to solve it. But other people think, no, maybe we can try to utilize the sun energy, maybe we try to utilize other form of energy and so on. So they start thinking, maybe we can do some kind of solar panels, maybe we can do some kind of renewable energy, maybe we can utilize the wind energy and so on. So not defining the problem, not thinking about the issue as a problem, actually will never allow you to solve it, because you think if it was solved it's okay, and if it was not solved it's also life goes on. So this is really the difference between people think about different issues and different struggles, and they have a strong understanding of the world around them, and they define what are particular problems that the world that worth saving, and what are the opportunities in terms of solving them. So recently, yesterday, I was reading about a charity organization. It's called Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's quite a famous one. And they are interested in solving group of problems that sometimes the market condition did not allow for solving them. And one of these are health problems. So they think of a disease which is a very famous disease, which is called malaria, which is being transferred to people through mosquitoes. And it's about, it kills I think the statistics says it kills around 650,000 people every year, which is a shocking number. And the aim that they would like to eradicate malaria completely, I don't know, by 2020 or by 2025. They are really in a rush. They want to do it today rather than tomorrow. They feel strongly for people who has been affected by this disease and so on. So this kind of problem, it might not face me personally. And because I don't think about it, that it's facing me personally, or it's not around people that I love, I start not to think about it much. And maybe because if it's not common in my area, I don't even consider it to be a problem. So this is where listening and understanding what others are trying to solve and why they think it's important can help you sometimes solve other problems that might not be related to you, but however it can help other people around the world. And like a strong empathy to different human beings across the globe is one of the most important elements. Another kind of problem that this organization is trying to solve is about education, and they think that the 20% of the 20% of top students usually grasp the educational, the scientific and material, and the material that they are being taught in school much better than the less 80%, which some of them did not finish school or did not attend college and so on. And they think this is a problem because it affects the economy, because we have people within our society that are not able to utilize the knowledge that they gained in school and so on. So they will always be far behind. And they thought that maybe the best way to do this is they have done some research, and they discovered that actually teachers, the top 10% of teachers actually the top teachers can affect the education quality, improve the education quality by 10%, which can help more people grasp the material and so on, and which might help them to become more efficient within the economy. However, this is not the only way of looking at things. Some other people say that actually there are different people have different characteristics. Not everyone should grasp the educational material or the basic material. Some people are good using their hands. Some people are much better doing some form of physical work rather than doing some intellectual work. And however, this argument comes also in a much longer aspect, which talks about actually the injustice within our society, and sometimes how white collar jobs are getting more than the blue collar jobs, and it's very famous, except in some areas in Northern Europe and so on. So now this is kind of a conversation which actually tells you, if I solve this problem, maybe even if I solve the education problem, it will not help in boosting the economy, because the framework or the structure within the economy is very much different, and the base scale is very much different than we think about, and it's a competition, and there are plenty of labors or plenty of labor force. So it's a very big idea that needs thinking, why we are trying to fix the educational system, and it's really, as we say, part of inequality, part of injustice. But for me personally, I think about education as a very important way for you to live a much better life, a higher quality life, a more interesting life. So being educated is not about getting a job. Being educated actually to have a higher intellectual capability, and to have a higher understanding of the world, and to have a better communication within your society. So it's not about the job, it's not about the economy, it's not about productivity, as much as about it as it's about well-being. So I think about it as health. I think about it as an enabler for our society to be more functional, whether that was more functional on an economical terms or not on an economical terms. So other problems that people are trying to face, what is happening with the nuclear, because there are a lot of talks about this these days. It's about South Korea and North Korea, and the desire of North Korea to gain some kind of nuclear weapons. And for many people, the problem of North Korea gaining nuclear problems, it's about affecting their security framework. So they think for another country to possess a nuclear threat, this is not acceptable within our security strategy. It's not acceptable within security principles, and security is something that is important for us and for our society, and this is what we care about, and we will not allow it. So we'll not allow it using diplomatic measures, or we'll not allowing using let me say military power. So fortunately they have managed to solve it. Fortunately they have, I think that the problem is on its way for a solution, and this is a very good thing for the world, because at the end of the day, people we would a world without nuclear weapons is a much better world, because there is less likelihood for mass killing and mass murder. So and based on my values, I think every lives matter, and a lot of people has no issue whatsoever with conflicts. They are just part of their countries where they did not choose to be, and sometimes it's not even their choice, and sometimes they can be murdered or killed without even a moral choice, or even without a choice from their side, which is a pity, and something that just add to the current state of injustice and current state of inequality around us. So the talk was about problems and how we can think about it, and about them, and we can solve them. So thinking what other ministers, or what other CEOs, or what other company managers are trying to solve can be helpful for you. So a company like Google trying to reduce the number of accidents across the globe, they think about it. Maybe we can introduce autonomous cars, autonomous vehicles. Some people thought about taxis, that taxis are somehow sometimes inefficient and a reliable way of transport, because you go out of your home and there are some time that you wait for a taxi and the journey takes longer than expected. So they have made these taxi or ride hailing apps. And thinking about the problems, the daily struggles, and what other people are thinking, what other people are viewing as problems, can help you to enhance your capability of solving different problems. And if you manage to learn a lot about different problems that people faced in their lives and how they have managed to solve it and how they will carry on solving it, it will help you to have a much better understanding of the world around you. So this is a topic for you to think, what are the problems that my kids thinking? Maybe, for example, even help you to become a better communicator. So when you think about what are the problems that my kids are facing, you might think, hey, they are feeling bored, but they can't express it, and they can't understand this is a problem. And also, you don't understand that they are feeling bored, and they think bored is not a nice feeling. Boredom is not a nice feeling. So that sometimes you think they are not feeling appreciated, or sometimes they are not feeling they need some kind of emotional support. So it depends on how you see others and how you understand what kind of problems they are facing and what kind of difficulties they they would like to overcome. That was my talk for today. I wish you a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great evening.